Hello and welcome. It is the 22nd of June 2018. What I've been thinking about doing is 5 to 7 times a week, try to do one a day, detailed analysis, technical analysis on altcoins. So for this one, let's do such within that of FeatherCoin, which managed to get up to about 2,700 from this 1,000 or 1,100 or so Satoshi low. Has pulled back to 2178, and like a lot of the altcoins are going to present themselves grinding their way lower and then taking a huge elevator ride towards the upside. And then when you get major moves like this, you're going to get intraday volatility to big levels. So we look at this on a 15-minute time frame. This has been making moves to the upside, obvious. Each one, you got one in here, another one, and then 5. We do see that this is for the first time resisting the 18 and making the leg lower from a declining such. So as we see it on the 15-minute time frame as it stands out, this is the sideways movement. Makes this movement in here with a little bit of holding amongst the 18, enough to make this 18 decline. Resisted at the highs, leaving it right now. So it does seem as if maybe this might be a key top that it may not see for a while. It is coming on this heavy volume on such. And noticeably, we had a decent amount but on the early stages of the rally. Now we could come and have a new high come in thereafter and see even bigger volume. That could be a possibility. But when I look at it as myself for a trader, when I find these high peaks in any of these coins, I'm always going to be a seller when it makes these moves if I own them. And this one was no exception. I was a seller amongst FeatherCoin. But I don't want to buy back until I get decent retracements, thus good deals on the buyback. And when I see moves like this, I'm going to next think about Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to switch this up to an hourly time frame. And amongst this, I can see that the key low is basically 1,100. The key high, 2,700. So I will calculate it amongst these two levels. And I'm looking at 1,900 as an area I'd be looking to first become a buyer on the buyback. And then 1,500 looks like the number after that. 1,900 representing this little area in here. And then if I buy here, I'll be looking to sell as we start to get back to these upper areas again. If I buy here, well, on the situation of buying here, there is no buying again until around the 15 handle, because I see Fibonacci at 1550. It usually pierces extra, so that's how I would prefer to play a move like this. I cannot sell since my last sale was near the high. I'm not going to sell again until it has a decent break above this. So it's either sell at like well over 3,000 or buy at 1,900 for me. This move is obviously a huge statement when we look back again at the daily time frame. There has been plenty of these situations in which it has rallies intraday and it pulls back. Seeing these as a trader means you can, each time it has decent moves above, put sell orders in, and you're going to have a good chance oftentimes of getting your buybacks. Now sometimes, like now, it will go very, very wild, where if we look at it on a 3-hour time frame, There's going to be many situations with coins where you sell in here. Great plays. And you're going to be buying it back the next day or the next week at a profit. Now, if you sell everything you have there, what do you do now? But if you sell a portion of what you have here, a portion again here, which is basically what I've been doing. So now I've sold a few portions, looking to buy the first back at 1915, then 1500, and so on. So let's again go back to the daily chart. This market is making the statement that it wants to revert the trend. There's going to be a lot of volatility along the way, and a few days for this 18 average just to settle in after a move like this. For if you can make a rally of this expenditure, and this is going to be a failed breakout, and a failed breakout means you're in a downtrend, or it doesn't matter if you're in a downtrend or not, actually. You make a great rally from where you stand, and you go back to where you came from, and then worse, and back to where you came from in this case would be 1100. For this move to be legit, or to not be in the failure move, that's the 61.8% down, or the 1550 level. So any retracements down to such can keep this move active. But when you see weakness at around the 1550, or if and when you see such, and you're seeing declining moves, and when they go down, they can go down like this, you can be rest assured that this thing could have significant downside legs thereafter. But the potential for decent gains, if this statement becomes true, you spend a few days and this thing consolidates, holds either the 1500 or the 1900 variable level, maybe a week, a month, or 3 go by, this thing can break 4,000 and then some thereafter it. So we look at this again, we're seeing a lot of up and down choppy action. This is great swing trading for buy low, sell high strategy, just waiting for down moves to buy, and these up moves like we've seen recently to get your sales in. Instead of looking at it scrolling back, let's do the weekly chart and see what comes up. And yeah, all these, what's up with this here? I guess it's just the start of it. Yeah, you see the up and down choppy moves. 2016, 500 up to like 17,000. That's a 30x move. And when you look at where it goes and comes from, we can see it comes back down again here, up, down, up to this, and then this long decline. And that's how the cryptos work. All the time frames like this. How long does it take to get back what it lost? Not as long. Down move here, up, down. And within this chart here, which is just extremely choppy, and extremely choppy is when you can't get above the 18 for doing much. You can't do well below the 18. And in spots like this, you're a buyer below hand, so the buying period is now ended. And then the selling period for this time frame is only beginning. And then you sell up towards here. And if a situation like this is to occur, where this resistance at some point breaks out, then the potential for monstrous gains is always going to come into play, especially within the crypto space. Because this is detailed analysis, I'm going to take a look at this against the US dollar, although I don't know if there's no exchange that I know directly with it, but you can trade anything against it. Just trade it first to Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then to the dollar from there. So you can trade anything against the dollar directly by just doing an extra trade. So we'll take a look at this now against the US dollar. And we'll start with that same weekly chart. I'm just going to ignore a lot of this early stuff, but as we can see in here, the pattern has been making very violent higher highs and higher lows. As it oftentimes can, well, the violent moves is well below the 18 here, going from the 2 cent handle to, well, 0.0025, about an 8x loss. And then this, even with a double move here, you go from 8.1 cents to almost a penny, twice. Well, this one, and then the second time it goes back to a half a penny here. And then it comes back to where it comes from on this move here. And the pattern. Once you get here, I always say, I don't know what to expect both bullishly, on a bullish level, to go either go down or up, because when you go to what I call previous high, which is an area of key resistance that you were at before after a good price correction, and you're there for the first time since, sure, you could have a big move and go straight up, but maybe it can have a good positive correctionary move, and this is by far definitely a good positive correctionary move. Then you have that leg higher. So when that happens, now I want to see how well it can hold and stay above this key level. And this level of support was exactly the area where it came from. I think that this thing would have to hold 4 cents. That's how I look at this. I would be a little uneasy even if this is if it breaks this low. However, Bitcoin goes to 3,000, yada yada. Bitcoin goes up from 3,000. That's all going to play in the nature of the game. After all, this has had a lot of violent, sharp corrections amongst a pattern that has had several higher lows and higher highs on the weekly chart. Let's move this on to the daily term time frame next, and really not much more to show. I think that what I just talked about on the weekly should be enough to conclude this video. And yeah, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try to do a bunch of these on a per day basis. It's going to be really easy on the for the next few weeks, because there's everything but FeatherCoin to choose from to start off with. And yeah, take care. Bye-bye.